Yeah,
so.
yeah. Just and put us on so they know something's happening.
Okay, and mute, scene. There we go. Oh, look, they were there. Let's see if anybody shows up. Okay, I'm gonna. It's official.
Oh, that wasn't too big of a lag there.
Yeah, the internet has its quirks, and apparently, one of them is Facebook.
Facebook is a big quirk.
It's a giant quirk. So I see that there. So I'm gonna do this. Let's see if we can get anybody to come hang out with us.
Okay.
So this has been such a weird shit experience. We're experimenting. Nobody knows what they're doing here. Certainly I don't. I'm gonna go into this event and go. Let's go to this. Oh, I know. First I gotta do this. See if anybody shows up here. Wait, how did I? Okay. Okay, let's go. Go to my feed.
Lucy?
What's this? Go to this.
Yeah?
No.
Come up. No, I have moon. Oh, just kidding.
Copy link. I'm gonna paste this into here then. So that if anybody goes to here, they'll see it.
So you ended one video and did another.
Deleting it.
Okay.
Confirm.
Moon, come here.
Comments.
Come here.
Anybody looking for us? Come over here.
There you go.
Okay. Now we just wing it
Okay.
and see if anybody shows up right there. So let's just
So right now we don't have anybody though.
nobody's in there.
Okay.
That's pretty great. Learning. Well, trial and error. Mainly error.
Joys of Facebook.
It smells like a fart.
That could be true.
We look good. And we have a lot of really great things to share with people.
It's true.
It's unfortunate that nobody will see this because the internet decided it's just not
The net.
gonna happen for us today.
The
Mark
net is
Zuckerberg.
weird. How do we do this? Wait.
Oh, Steven, how's it going?
Steven?
Well, we apparently
There we go.
don't know what we're doing with internet streaming, and we set up an event and we started doing this thing.
It took a while.
It took a little while.
It took a while. A little clunky.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
you know, we're getting older.
We're getting
Technology,
old.
man.
That's funny. Oh, that's great.
Oh, we're gonna give this some time because we had some technical difficulties. That's what happened. So we're gonna give maybe like 5 or 10 minutes, see who might pop in here, and
Yeah.
see if we can get started. A little late, but at least we'll get started.
If you want to hang, cool. If not, totally understand. But I
Yeah.
hope you're doing well, man. Yeah, it's really funny. Being like we're like upstairs trying to like make the internet happen, and then it didn't, and then this whole thing with like pages and profiles. Here's what I'm finding is like one of the most crazy things. Julie,
Hey, everybody.
Sarah, look at that. We're getting
All
a few
right,
people here.
people are starting to come in.
I think one of the troubles, and I find this just as a singer-songwriter, like my name is also my like brand name.
Yeah.
And so you have a page, and then, and particularly on Facebook, this is an issue. You have your personal stuff that you're posting, your pictures of your kids, and your whole like persona, who you are.
Right.
And then you also have like this artist thing that you're trying to develop and do.
Yeah.
And it's always this just constant thing.
It's a balance. Hey, my wife is so sweet. She's so excited that she found us.
It takes some digging today. It's we're actually trying to hide from people. So we like shut down the whole event, and then now we're like,
we have so much exciting stuff to share. So we were actually up in Ben's cool studio, and it's really sweet, and we were so excited to do this. But we just kept getting disconnected, so we had to.
Yeah, and then we came downstairs, and we realized, like the way that we set up the event, which we were experimenting with, was Facebook wasn't pushing. I don't know what's going on. Anyway.
It's a very Mark Twain kind of thing. I think he said, I can't adjust the wind, but I can adjust my sails. So we've just adjusted our sails. Because the technology wind is really brutal.
Yeah. What time is it? We'll wait. We'll hang. If you guys are good to hang or whatever, we'll hang for a few more and see if we get anybody else to jump in here, and then we'll share some things. In the meantime, does anybody want to see my puppy?
A puppy?
Hold on. Hey, can I get Moon for a second?
A puppy's a very loose term because this was a puppy. Was a puppy.
Okay.
We're gonna see.
He's big now.
That's what I was saying.
I know you can bite.
Puppy's very relative.
This is gonna get people on the internet.
That's a dog.
You
brought a dog. Hi, dog.
I know, right?
Hi, dog.
Yeah.
Hi, dog.
Yeah, this is Moon.
Hi, Moon.
And hi Jane, hi Al, how's it going? So we're gonna start in a minute or so. We had a little delay, technical difficulties, but we're here now. This is Moon. Moon is a guide dog in training. My girls are raising him, and he's crazy. He's like, I don't think I like being a lap dog anymore, and he's definitely chewing on my sweater.
Moon is your reward for our lateness, so enjoy some dog time.
Some dog time.
That was great.
Tom Adlin, what's up, dude? That's so fun.
Thanks to you guys who are joining and hanging in. We have a slight delay with what we can see and what you guys can see, so be patient as we kind of
Tell the internet.
Join the rhythm through this technical difficulty.
He does. Yeah. So we'll give it maybe 2 more minutes, and then we're going to get started. Just so you guys kind of know, this is the second time that I've done this, like jumping online to do a live stream. My last time was to talk about creative rhythms and how we can create rhythms in our lives that help us in our creativity and the things that we're making. Because I think that we all have something to create. We all have something to make. We all have something we're here to do. And had a great discussion on it. So we're going to continue a little of that conversation today. And Adam is here to share some freaking gold. So
that's the hope.
Freaking gold.
I'm excited. Thanks for inviting me. Ben does these cool guided live streams, and so his first one about creative rhythms is really awesome. If you were part of that, great. You guys benefited tremendously. These are some foundational things that we've learned have not just worked for us, but that work for other people to keep momentum going forward in your life. So I don't want to riff off of what Ben started last month on his creative rhythms and see what we can do to talk about living as authentically as you can. And I know that sounds kind of strange. A lot of people are like, well, I think I am living authentically, but you may find out you might not be living as authentically as you think, and that could be holding you back from the life you want. So
before we totally dive into what we're going to do, I want to talk about rhythms and creative rhythms for a second and go back to what I did last time.
Do it.
Why don't you talk about some of what you're doing and what like kind of rhythms that you've developed in your daily life to keep you going and making those things?
That's a heavy question.
It's a big, heavy question. I don't beat around the bush.
No, he doesn't. So a couple months ago, I actually started a YouTube channel, and part of my creative rhythm is understanding that there are these pockets of our lives. Mine happens to be in mountain biking that I see this, but pockets of our lives that are teaching us greater truths about the whole of our lives. And so I create a YouTube channel where I show that mountain biking and the lessons I'm learning on the trail actually pertain to bigger things that happen off the trail in my life. And I believe that anybody can actually learn from these things. So when it comes to certain creative rhythms, I have to do this rhythm of getting up, getting on the trails, getting my mindset and open to what the bigger lesson is, and actually trying to produce, edit, create content every single week on these things. So
this is Adam's video from today. I don't know if you can see it, but it's just genius, and it's like nobody's doing this kind of stuff on YouTube. Nobody's doing this kind of stuff in the mountain biking community. But Adam posted this one today, and it's like, it's so genius. It's shot in like so nice old-timey footage, and it has these hilarious little captions on it. It's super fun. But the coolest thing, what I love about it, is that you are bringing Not just like mountain biking cool videos, because anybody can stick a GoPro on their head and do crazy stuff on the trails. Not anybody, I guess I can.
It's a little difficult. It's a little difficult.
But
no shade to the riders out there.
No shade to the riders out there. But what you're doing is something really special because you're bringing your own leadership skills, your creativity into play here, and you're teaching these like life lessons that are deep and are very much you. So
thanks,
I appreciate that, and I think that the like as far as rhythms go, it's just been you getting on the trails. It's just been you as somebody who is new even in the mountain biking community, just getting started and going. So
correct.
It's really cool.
I appreciate that. Yeah, and living as authentically as I can, which is what we're going to talk about. We're going to start in like about 2 minutes. We just got Kathy Joe in here, so thanks for joining us.
Yeah.
Kathy Joe. Ben, if you guys don't know, just came off of a tremendous guided concert at an event called ATL, Association of Transformational Leaders.
Yeah.
Tell them about that real quick, what that experience was like, because this is just some insight into actually Ben showing up authentically and the rhythms he's created.
Yeah. Doing these guided concerts in support of my new record, The Way Up, and we've been traveling by team. Adam's part of our team. We go around we have a trio and we create experiences that remind you why you're on this planet. And the one we did this weekend was at a conference, so we're like 80 people in the room. We're playing songs from my record, but then we lead people into meditations and we guide them through stories. And it's just this, I don't know, it's magic. It's really,
awesome.
really, really fun.
It's so good.
Yeah, it's so fun. So the one this weekend was particularly fun because it was the Association of Transformational Leaders. These people are all folks who are they're authors and speakers and like people themselves who are doing some like really cool stuff in the world, and they show up and they're all in the room, and the energy that they brought was like, it wasn't work for me. It was simply like just showing up, and like afterward we did a little debrief and I told the team, I was like, it literally felt like jumping in a river and going for a swim, and we just kind of were carried by their energy and their momentum. It was
beautiful,
crazy fun. So
it was beautiful.
Yeah.
Okay, so for those of you who showed up, again, our apologies for the technical difficulties. We really want to start about a half hour ago. Had to move from Ben's studio to another room to continue to facilitate this guided workshop on Show Us Your Goods. But yeah, that's just the way life goes sometimes. Hey, just one ground rule that we're going to ask of you during this. We need your voice at the table. We really want you to contribute to this conversation. So as things pop up, regardless of any technological delays, feel free to hit us in that chat box there with questions, comments, insights. This isn't just us espousing a ton of information on you guys. We would love to hear what your experiences are and your questions.
Conversation. So how this works, so last about a month ago, I did one of these workshops, and I did it on creative rhythms. And I wanted to get a sense for what are the things that are working for you, and let me give you some tools to help you create something. I believe that everyone in this planet is created with something special, something unique to bring to the world. And it's up to us to create the life that brings it out. It's up to us to create the rhythms that allow that thing to flow. There are ways that we can make it easier on ourselves. And so it felt really good. It was a great conversation with a handful of people. Adam was actually in the chat room, and it was pretty cool. So he and I started talking afterward. And Adam's one of my best friends and a coach himself. And as he was mentioning, just started this YouTube channel, just a creative. And I'm like, how can we take this conversation to the next step? And it actually means we go back a couple steps, because in order to create those creative rhythms, you have to be aware of who you are. So much of our lives is about discovering, about being curious, about discovering what's in here, and coming into tune with it enough, and growing in confidence enough that we start to be able to share it. And so we developed this little workshop as just a real basic conversation around a couple tools that we can use to become, I think, just more aware of that.
Absolutely. So our goal by the end of this is you guys should have a clear idea and a tool that will allow you to kind of check it against your life right now and the life that you want to have, and see if the life that you want to have is only being limited by your ability to show up as exactly who you are to the best of your ability and in a bigger way than you probably ever have before. So we really want to tackle that. So before we get into it, we got some people who are joining us right now. We're just going to ask you this question. We'd love for everyone to chime in with your answers on this. So hey, Hodges in, woo! We'd love for you guys to join in on this. the question is simply this: who are you? Tell us who you are. In brief there in the chat, because we would love the answer to that question. So who are you?
Who are
Scott
you?
Love.
Uh-huh. I'm just gonna refill my drinks.
Oh, that's great. Ben's gonna refill. He says he's gonna refill his drink. He's gonna refill our drinks because this is part of who we are. We really enjoy a good whiskey. So part of this is gonna be us doing that. But could you guys please just type in there? Just answer the question who you are. Don't overthink that. It's actually part of the foundation of what we're doing today. So it's important that you add your voice to the conversation on the table today. Hey, and to all of you who are here, cheers. We're going to give it just a minute.
I'm a Facebook lover.
While we do that.
Scott wishes he was here.
We wish you were here too, dude. We wish you were here too.
Sit at the table right there and be like...
Absolutely. By the way, Ben and I geek out over this stuff. Hey, John Ing.
What's up, dude?
What's up, John? John, since you just joined us, we're just asking everyone to chime in right now and just answer the question, who are you? We want to have all the voices at the table.
Can I write?
This,
I can type in here too.
You can. Go ahead.
I'm going to write.
Hey.
Cheers.
Cheers, pal.
I'm a singer.
Okay. It's exactly who you are. It's exactly who you are.
Figuring it out.
Yeah.
Working on it.
You're doing a good job of it too. You're definitely doing a good job of it. Okay, so while some of you are answering this question, Ben already chimed in. I want to tell you why this question is really important. So there's a really wonderful parable that ever since I heard it, I've just kind of kept with me. I think we've talked about it before. That parable is just this. It is, hey Kelly, welcome to the guided workshop.
Yeah, Kelly.
The parable is simply this. It's a wise person is walking down this path, and they're chilling out, they're walking down this path, and out of nowhere a soldier gets in front of them very aggressively. And the soldier has this gun, very intimidating, and stops a wise person. And they say, who are you? Where are you going? And why are you going there? So the wise person stops and takes a minute to take some inventory and thinks over the questions and responds with, how much do they pay you to do this? Soldier says, well, they pay me $100 a day to do this. The wise person thinks it over and goes, okay, cool, $100 a day. I'll tell you what, I'll pay you $200 a day. I'm going to double it. Pay you $200 a day. Stop me on this same road every single day and ask me those same three questions. Who are you? Where are you going? And why are you going there? See, the importance of it is the wise person understands that if they can't answer those questions, their life is directionless. And the foundation of those questions is those three words, who are you? Because if you can't authentically answer who are you, you have a very difficult time answering the question, where are you going and why are you going there? And I think then our lives become like that Talking Heads song, Once in a Lifetime, where David Byrne says, this is not my beautiful house. This is not my beautiful wife. And I think at one point he exclaims, well, how did I get here? And a lot of us wake up and we go, well, how did I get here? And it might be because you're not living authentically.
And that shows up in so many ways. I think for a lot of us that comes up at a spot where it feels like a midlife crisis almost, where it's like you've gone so far and you've built something, and then you look back and you go like, oh, hey, what's up, Aaron?
Hey, Aaron.
And then all of a sudden you go, oh shit, like what is actually happening here? Like, what am I actually doing here? And it comes up sometimes that people, anxiety, depression, all these things like are, to me,
can you relate?
Sometimes systematic. And there's other factors that relate to that stuff, I think. But those are things that happen. So one of the reasons I invited Adam here tonight to share a little bit and to be part of this conversation was I think that, one, you are here for something. You're here for something. You're created to bring something to life that nobody else in the world is going to be able to bring. And if you don't do it, nobody else will. And part of our life's purpose is to get in touch with that. That's part of our being, our divine reality, whatever you want to call that. And Adam's a person who, one, is a creative. He's done that his entire life. And he's followed this path of doing it. And two, he's specialized in that. So he's a leadership coaching specialist. And he's developed some tools. And he has some tools and he put them into practice. Adam has led groups of people. He's led families of people. He's led in corporate events. And I thought, let's talk about this, how it relates to who we are, how we show up in the world. I think so many of us are hiding. So many of us have something inside of us that nobody else even knows about, and we haven't figured out. It's almost like we're like creatively constipated, right?
We are creatively constipated.
We kind of like, right? I get it. As a creative, it's like you have these seasons where you're like, I gotta do something, and I'm stuck. I can't figure out how to do it because all my life circumstances are keeping me from being able to do that.
Absolutely.
So how do we move into self-awareness? Like,
Ben's asking such good questions. So now we're going to dive into the meat of this. First of all, my lovely wife, Sarah, she's saying, I'm an artist on many levels. We asked the question, who are you? She says that I'm an artist on many levels. I love creating things, learning how to do and make things, studying herbalism, and natural healing modalities, and roller skating.
Hell yeah!
Yeah, I know all of this to be true about her. That's really cool. Now, for those of you who haven't answered or haven't answered yet, there honestly could be two things going on there. One of them you're going to find out in a minute. Some of it could just be fear, the fear of like showing up or judgmental and such. But you're going to learn with the tools in the Johari window another reason why you might not be answering. The other thing could just be you don't know. And that's okay. So 9 out of 10 people that I ask this question to, who are you? They can't answer it. Because most people, what they want to do is they want to answer what their role is. Hi, Maureen. They want to answer what their role is at work, what their role is relationally. They're a partner in a relationship or they're the parent in a relationship. And beyond those things, like a role at work or where they are relationally, it's very hard for them to articulate. Mm-hmm. So we're going to get to the root of that. We're going to get to the root of that right now.
Let's do it. Let's hear it.
Okay.
Talk about Johari window.
So one of the greatest tools I've learned is something called the Johari window. Now, for those of you who have decided to join us here live, man, you're in for a treat. Because this thing is something that most people don't get to hear about unless like they're working at a company that cares enough to invest in their professional development. But this tool can be used for anybody, for individuals everywhere. And it gives you an insight into more self-awareness. And it gives you pockets that you might not even be aware that you need to pay attention to. Yeah. So we're going to jump into the Johari window. It was created in 1950 by two dudes, Joseph and another guy named Harrington. Thus you get the name Johari. So thank you, Joseph and Harrington. And again, it was for raised self-awareness. So what I want you guys to picture is this. We're going to put this up on the screen right now. And the Johari window is simply picture a window pane sectioned off into 4 parts. A window. And what we're going to do first is we're going to focus on the first part of this window. And it's honestly the most important part of the window. That wasn't me farting. That was my chair. For those of you who heard that, that was my chair.
I thought it was you farting.
I know you did. Okay. The first part of this window, feel free to take screenshots of this. This
What's
is
up, Jacob?
One of the most
Maureen?
powerful tools. Oh, Dennis saying hi to Jacob. Hi, Jacob. One of the most powerful tools that you could have. I'm going to break down what the Johari window is, and then I will break down how to use it. So follow along with me here, and definitely join in and ask any questions along the way, because I want to answer it, even if we have to backtrack. First part of the Johari window is what is known to you about yourself and what others also know about you. And we call that the arena. Mm-hmm. Arena is a beautiful name for it. It means like you are the public spectacle. You're the one on stage. You're the center of attention. And it's those things that really are hard to argue. It's like as simple as I'm wearing a denim jacket today, that Ben has a very luscious beard. I have black hair. Ben's hair is shaved down. That Ben is a singer-songwriter and he is prolific and incredibly talented in music. It might be that we both have outgoing personalities. These are things that really are kind of hard to argue. It's known to us personally, and it's known to other people. Okay?
Adam gets mistaken for a Mexican dude.
I do. I get mistaken for Hispanic all the time when really I was made in Thailand with American parts. So bad on everyone who thought I was Hispanic, although I love that culture very much. And I would love to be fluent in Spanish.
Working on that.
Yeah. I digress.
Yeah.
The arena is so important. Again, we're going to show you why, but the arena is where all your authenticity lies. Yeah. And so the challenge today is going to be to live in the arena as much as possible. But we have these 3 other quadrants. Hey, Terry, how are you?
What's up, Terry?
We have these 3 other quadrants in the Johari window that we want to talk about. So let's bump over to that upper right quadrant.
What is that one?
Yeah, this is called our blind spot. Super scary. This one freaks me out.
I hate this one.
Oh, God, everyone does. Here's what's crazy about it. This is what is not known to you. You're not even aware of these things, but everyone else knows them about you. So on the most basic level, this is the equivalent of having a booger in your nose.
Yeah.
Right? and you really wish in hindsight somebody would have told you, hey man, you're like rocking something in there. But they don't tell you.
No.
Because it's such a hard thing to tell people.
I'm just going to leave it.
But the blind spots. Hey Charlene, how are you? Blind spots. God, as scary as it is, man, when you have trusted people around you who can speak constructively and compassionately into your blind spots, consider that a gift.
This is community. This is people. This is human relationships,
Absolutely.
right? Blind spots is dependent on proximity. Without proximity, you don't have this.
This is why community is so important. You know, my wife's always saying, like, we're not meant to do life alone. And she's so right. It's so nice to be able to do this with Ben. And I have other friends, you know, people who have joined in right now as well. And people in our lives who can speak to our blind spots that we trust.
Right.
And we know that their intention is not to hurt us. And by the way, blind spots, our minds want to think blind spots are always bad, because I use that booger in the nose analogy. You know, what's up, Doug? Thanks for joining us. Blind spots can be really good things that we refuse to accept about ourselves as well. You know, that we're compassionate, that we're powerful, that we're kind.
Not
that we're
always
talented.
like negative things.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Quite often those are the most, and that's probably where we'll go with this. I think even I'm interested in going like, how can we help people find the things that they are uniquely gifted at, find the things that you're specifically here to do, and live those out. A lot of times it's because you actually don't see it. Maybe other people see it in you.
Right.
Maybe other people see it in you, and you got to be around those people.
The best gift you can have is people in your life that you trust who would speak this. So we have the arena, which is where our authenticity really flourishes, but now you're aware of blind spots as well. Let's move to the bottom left corner. This is what is known to you, but you don't share it with other people. So there's things I know about myself that Ben doesn't know, and we call it the secret. Secrets. And for those of you who have watched The Office, they say what? Secrets are no fun. Secrets hurt someone. Is that what they say?
Yeah.
Is that related to this? Oh my gosh.
Good job.
Okay,
Nice
so
reference.
the secret window. You know the other crazy thing about this secret window, what's known to you but not known to other people? It's also known as the facade. And if you guys have heard that word before, if you ever buy a house, the facade is the face of the house. It's what you choose to show people, but you don't allow people in. So when we were calling this thing Show Us Your Goods, this is the equivalent of knowing you have better parts of yourself that you refuse to show, that you have a small shop somewhere with beautiful treasures in the back and you refuse to bring them out. Why? For what reason? I got to say, a lot of the reason is fear. Yeah. Fear of judgment. We're in a very comparison age. You know, the cliffs of comparison, these edges of expectations of other people, the highlight reels, the filters, the Snapchats that make everything look so beautiful. Yeah. And God forbid we put our real self out there and talk about how we really are.
There's so many reasons not to. And actually, this is a great point for us to like pause for a second. I'm going to review the first 3 of these in the Johari window.
Go for it.
And ask. In particular on the secret one, why do you think we stop short of sharing our secrets? So here we go. So slide 1 is the arena. That these are the things that are known to you and known to others. 2, the second spot is things that are known to others, but not known to you. Those are our blind spots. And this 4th one are the things that are known to you. Known to you, that you are aware of in yourself, but not known to other people. Those are the secrets. Those are the things you're holding on to. What is it? Just like hypothesize. Like, why do you think people do that? Like, why do you do it? But why do people?
Yeah, I really think it's this fear of judgment. It's an interesting thing.
Julie, Dave, mate, what's going on, guys?
Hey, Julie, Dave, thanks for joining us. So here's an example. I'll use my example with a secret spot. It's not that secret for people who know me though. But as a 47-year-old adult who does leadership coaching, I'm a professional artist. I've done writing. I've operated in many professional realms, and I'm very proud of. One of the things I love to do is collect toys. What? I'm a 47-year-old man. I just love it. It reminds me of being a kid again. Yeah. But can you imagine what it's like if I show up at an event I get to facilitate through Triple Threat, like at Nike, and I go, hey, by the way, I collect wrestling action figures. And they're like, what's this guy's authority to speak on this again? But the two things can actually coexist, because the truth and the authentic part of me is a guy who loves toys, collectibles, pop culture.
Yeah.
Like, I love going back to stuff from the 80s and reminding myself of what it was like growing up.
It's so great.
You know?
And I love that about you, because I think that you carry that essence into your different pockets, right? Like, you're pretty good at it. And not all of us are very good at that. Like, I think a lot of us see our lives as segmented. So we go, oh, I like, I like toys, but then I'm a leadership coaching specialist, or I'm an engineer. And so these things never shall connect. But the beautiful, I think the most gorgeous, beautiful, and potent parts of our lives are where those things connect, where like your weird little interests over here connect with your profession and connect with your background and connect with the things that you've done in your past. I think that those are the spots that are the most magical.
They're the most magical, and they're the most
Right?
they're the most relatable parts of us. As scared as we are to like show those things, it's a part that honestly makes people go, "Oh my gosh, I'm into that too."
Because it's believable, right?
It's totally, it's so real.
It's believable
It's
because like
authentic.
you can't fake that stuff.
Right.
Like you walk into a room and if you start talking about toys,
Right.
you light up. There's something inside you that naturally lights up. So if you can find
What's
the
up,
spots in
Braxton?
your life. What's up, Mindy? So if you can find the things in your life that are those sweet spots where your like sort of weird things overlap with your profession and your background, those are the spots. Bring those into the arena. So back to the Johari window.
Yeah, please go. Don't do it.
Yeah, back to the Johari window. Oops, no, wrong one. This one. The secrets. There's so much gold in the secret. There's so much gold in there.
Yeah. So it's interesting when we talk leadership. People are like, oh, you're a leadership coaching specialist. People think positional leadership, like, oh, so you coach CEOs and you coach like top brass. No. Everybody who has joined us today, you're a leader. Leadership is not optional. Leadership is simply another word for influence. And believe it or not, you can influence people even when you don't want to. I can have a really bad, shitty day and be a horrible person, just be a real jackass of a character, and it will teach Ben how not to be, whether I want to or not, right? Because you'll be like, I don't want to be like that. So when I talk leadership, it's just about influence. And we talk about the secret area, this area about putting out stuff that people might not know about you. And listen, use some discretion with that. We're not saying you tell people what you do in bed or other things like that. But we are talking about being more of yourself out there, because when you are, it's not this weird dark corner. People are like, I found this out about you. You're just like, yeah, everyone knows that about me. It doesn't really matter, man. Right? So it allows you to actually my point was leadership. The definition of that is authentic influence that creates value. So authentically who you are, that creates value.
Write that down. That's so good.
Yeah.
Authentic
influence. That creates value.
influence. Every word of that is meaningful. Tell us about the fourth window.
We're going to go to the fourth window. So again, arena, we know it and they know it. Blind spots, we don't know it. They know it. Secrets, we know it. We choose to reveal it, but people don't know it. That's why it's secret. We're going to get to the last spot. I call it potential. Everyone else seems to call this thing unknown. I think potential is a much more active and powerful word. That's why I'm choosing potential. It's the unknown, and here's why it's unknown. You don't know it, and they don't know it. And so the word unknown is kind of passive. It's like, well, there's kind of this lot of things that we don't know. But potential says, do I want to try it?
Yeah.
Right? Like, I don't know. Here's the thing. I love music. I don't know if I have the potential to be a good musician. I've never really tried. I have assumptions, but I don't know because I haven't tapped into that potential.
I think we should try.
With Ben as my coach, anything is possible. But potential's so freaking exciting.
It is.
That tells you that no matter what age you are, no matter what head trash you have, no matter what stories you have about, it's too late, I missed the boat, I should have gone to college, I should have learned this earlier, I should have done it earlier, I wish I would have. Potential says it's still there.
Yeah.
And it's not dead. And grab it.
Yeah.
Test it. See.
I love it. In so many ways, this is actually the most exciting one because it's the part that's undiscovered. So you may be at a spot in life where you've gone like, I've done this, there's still so much left to do. There's still so much left to uncover.
Right.
I've been having a lot of conversations this past week or so with a friend of mine who does a video production company, makes these incredible short films, and like he never messaging, and I'm like I want to help you. I want to figure out ways to do that. And I'm like, I'm not a filmmaker. I'm not a cinematographer. But I'm like, guess what? I can learn. There's a term. Now I'm blanking on it.
Make up a term.
Yeah, it's a term.
Make up a term. You don't know your potential is where you're going.
No. Joy's teaching people about growth mindset.
Oh, growth mindset.
Lord, how do I not? I'm like, hello.
I
built a website about this the other day, and it's blanking me. So growth mindset is really just choosing growth mindset versus static mindset. So growth mindset says there are things that are left to be uncovered. There are undiscovered parts of me that I don't know yet. And I have the tools to be able to learn new things.
Love it.
And it's a shift in mindset. It's a shift in like way of even being in the world. Mm-hmm. So when you have that, when you have a growth mindset, you're living with this potential, this piece of the Johari window in focus, because you're going like there's something else here. There's something undiscovered.
Absolutely. So I want to tell you this because this is what's so exciting. Ben just dropped some gold on you. The truth of the potential window is the potential simply says it's not over. It's not over. And some of you either need to hear that or share that. That it's not over. There are undiscovered things that you're not aware of, that we're not aware of, the closest people around you aren't aware of, that could be some of your greatest successes if you could just tap into it.
Yeah.
And that's part
huge.
of living authentically.
It's
so much hope in that.
And there's so much of that is deeply rooted in your understanding of who you are. Mm-hmm. And the only way to get there is by being on a journey of self-awareness, being on a journey of realizing that there's something good that you have to bring to the world that nobody else has done yet. Yeah. And if you can't do that, like there's always going to be a block there. So part of the journey of life is being able to figure out how to unlock these things, how to be in tune with this stuff, and how to stay in touch with that.
Totally. So let's do this. Let's put all of them up on the window, all the panes of the Johari window. Let's review this real quick, and then I'm going to show you how this is actually applied when this is taught to corporations or teams. I don't know if my hope is that this would be done with families as well, but I'll show you how it's applied in a minute. That upper left again is the arena. That's our goal. I mean, imagine yourself as a powerful fighter, a gladiator, stepping out into the arena, proud of who you are, knowing your capability and knowing that you're going to have victory at what you want because you know who you are, where you're going, and why you're going there. This is what's known to you and known to everybody else. The problem is we have these things called blind spots. And if we don't examine blind spots, if we don't ask trusted people to constructively and compassionately pour into us and say, hey, what are my blind spots? We will never know those things. Do not fool yourself. You won't, hey, Ninfa, you won't know what those blind spots are until somebody else points it out to you. And then you have to measure it against trust and the number of voices and things like that. But it's not known to you, but it's definitely known to other people. Then we go to that secret pain. This takes a lot of courage because the secret pain says, what am I too scared to share? And it could be beautiful things. That you are a great vocalist, a great musician, an awesome artist, that you're great at strategy, that you are good at finances, that you have physical capabilities, that you're incredibly compassionate, that you have philanthropic resources that you can use to help kickstart other people. It's a tremendous area, but we guard it so tight because of fears, because of anxieties, because of worries, because of judgment. And that sucks. But it's known to you, it's not known to other people. And that last area, again, potential. Potential. We don't know it. You don't know it. But it's not over yet because you can fully explore that. So my hope right now is going over just this part before we dive into how this is actually applied is some of, like, you have light bulbs going off going, oh my God, I had no idea. I had no idea I have blind spots. I didn't know I'm really keeping secrets, or maybe you intuited that, and I definitely didn't think I had potential. Yeah. You know?
Yeah. And so maybe this is, I think this is where we should go with this, and I'm wondering, I see this as moving things into the arena, right?
Yes.
So part of our goal in life, part of where our direction can be is looking at all these different spots, our blind spots, our secrets, our potential, and going like, how can we move those things more into the arena? What's your experience been like that? What do you feel like are the best tools for us? How have you done that yourself?
Oh God, Ben's asking like the greatest questions right now on this. These things aren't easy, so I don't want to paint them as easy, and I don't want to paint them as like overnight steps that you do. They're consistent steps that you do with these things. So for me, like for example, blind spots, one of the top people I trust is my wife, Sarah, to tell me things. If she says that, those words hold weight to me. If Ben says something to me, it holds weight to me. Our friend Scott's in here. If he says something, it holds weight to me. Our friend Caleb, Doug. I have so many people in my life, thankfully, that can say something to me and it makes me pause. My kids have that amount of weight with me.
Yeah.
To say something to me and I'll pause and I'll have to really consider, is that a blind spot? I have a 16-year-old son. The other day he actually asked me, Dad, what are my blind spots? And I felt, I felt so proud.
Come on.
I felt so proud because he really
Dad.
took a posture of a student wanting to better himself.
Come on.
Listen, there's a saying, write this down, man. There's a saying, if I know more about you than you know about yourself, I can control you.
Oh, gold.
And you don't want that, okay? Be open to what your blind spots are. So those people can talk in my blind spots. Then the other thing I have to do is I have to have the courage to go, I want to reveal some things about me. In the intimacy of my relationship with my wife, I've been able to say, I think, I know, not even I think, everything about me. What's on my mind, my deepest fears, my most extravagant fantasies, like everything. And I know this is scary territory, but I want to be very transparent about that. If you have somebody in your life that you can do that with, share it with them. Every time you take a step of examining a blind spot, revealing a secret, and tapping into potential, you move into the arena.
Yeah.
And you move into authenticity.
I love that. Those are so, it's a movement of authenticity and it's a movement of connection.
Yeah.
And it's hard because like when those things aren't patterns in our lives, when we don't have those rhythms, we don't have those habits, we don't have those people around us to help us do that, those can be really intimidating things. But
absolutely,
everything Adam's saying is so true. And I feel like, dude, if there are any ways that like we can take steps toward that and toward deepening those and opening ourselves up to it, it's hard because like it's vulnerable and like to like allow yourself to be like in relationships that people can say that kind of stuff to you and receive that and be able to receive like that shit's not easy.
Not easy at all. Okay, hey.
Nobody likes that.
When you start sharing with people, see if they share back, you'll start to build some trust. And then you'll start to be able to have people reveal blind spots and stuff. But Ben's right, it's not easy. But if you have it and you're not tapping into it, you're missing the ability to live authentically. And that's why you wake up and you go, well, how did I get here? Yeah. Because you're not living out who you are at your core. And that's what we want to do. So should we get into how this thing works practically now?
Please.
Okay, let's get into how this works practically. So when we have the chance to do this with people, let's back up. We missed a slide. We missed a slide. Okay. The way this is done when we work with teams and corporations, you can do this with families. You can even do this with just two people. You take a list of adjectives. I'm giving you adjectives here right now. What's up, Dwayne? Thanks for joining us. You can take a list. Take a screenshot of these adjectives. Put your phone up to it. Mm-hmm. This is a starting point for you. Don't like cut this in stone right now, or like say that this is an absolute. It's a launch pad for you. So these adjectives, what you do is you usually have a list of some of these. So some of these adjectives: able, bold, giving, loving. What's up? What's up? Andrew joined. Woo! Mature, responsive, trustworthy, witty. These are adjectives that you can use to start facilitating the Johari window.
Relaxed and religious?
Relaxed and religious.
Modest,
those go
modest
together?
And mature?
Modest and religious. Those go together. Right. I don't want to offend anybody. Okay, here's how this works. You have a list of adjectives like this. And so like if this was Ben and I, or let's say there's like 3 other people with us right now. So that we have a total of 4 people. Yeah, this is great. What you're going to do is you take this list of adjectives and everybody gets the adjectives, okay? And then what happens is I take the adjectives and I start going through them. And I say, this adjective, hi Candy.
What's up?
This adjective describes me. So maybe I put something in here and I put an adjective in here of witty. Okay? I think witty describes me. So I take that adjective and I pull that out of this list. And let's say I take another adjective out like loving and I pull that out of this list. Now Ben gets a chance to answer this about me. So Ben starts picking adjectives out that he thinks relates to me, that he sees in me.
And I'm going clever, and is one of them.
That's okay.
Brave.
It's very kind of he films my mountain biking videos, so
Really brave.
okay. And so here's how this works. Let's go to the next screen because I want to show them. So again, stop me if you guys have questions on this, but if you're following along, I think that's great. You take these adjectives. I've answered them about me. Ben's answered them about me. Here's how it works. Let's say I answered that I'm dependable, happy, and giving, and Ben did the same thing. He said Adam's dependable, happy, and giving. Well, guess what? I know it, and he knows it. That goes into that upper left pane into the arena, which is where you want to live. So now I realize that I show up authentically as a dependable, happy, and giving person. Now, here's the crazy thing. When it comes to the blind spots, Ben has picked adjectives that I didn't pick about myself. In this example, let's say he's picked the adjectives powerful, confident, and brave. Now, if my wife was in here, let's say she picks powerful also as one of my adjectives, and maybe she picks some others. And let's say some of my other friends or coworkers pick other adjectives. The reason powerful is highlighted in turquoise is because more than one person has picked that term for me. Now, why didn't I pick it for myself? Why wouldn't I see myself as powerful?
Right?
Right?
It's so interesting.
It's so interesting.
Yeah,
So when that shows up as your blind spots, you can go, whoa.
Yeah.
Why do people view me as powerful when I don't see myself as such?
Right.
Okay? Now, here's what's crazy about it. The second you see and affirm by other people that you are one way in this positive way, watch how your life starts to change because you begin to own and act this way. They've done a study with people who mistakenly got, or they took an SAT. They weren't really good students. And I think the SAT, I think you get like a 1600 is the max you can get.
Right.
And people scored like a 1400 plus. And they're like, well, how did that happen?
Right.
And then they started showing up to class and asserting themselves as a really good student. And it changed their life because then they got a really great job or became an entrepreneur and flourished. And they look back and they go, it's because I found out I was really smart. Only to really find out there was a mistake on their SAT and they didn't score a 1400. They scored something like an 800 or a 600.
And they completely shifted how they were in the world based on what they thought of themselves.
Exactly.
Isn't that
It's incredible.
It's so weird.
That's the power of blind spot. So if somebody says I'm powerful and I'm not, I need to pay attention to that from trusted voices. So now let's go to that secret window. Now again, these are things I know about myself that other people don't. These are words that I've used that they didn't use. So it doesn't go in the arena. Why am I using words that I believe about myself that nobody else knows about me? So in this case, honestly, I'm not shy. I like to think I'm ingenious, but I'm not shy. But in the example here, it says shy and ingenious. Why wouldn't I give myself the benefit and power of language to tell people, hey, I'm a little shy when it comes to stuff, but I'll be dependable for you, and I'll do it with a good attitude, and I'll be as giving as possible, and I'll do it as powerfully as I can because people say I have that ability.
It's either fear, right?
Yeah.
Or what is it?
It's fear, it's comparison.
It's a bad story, it's comparisons.
Exactly right. Cognitive distortions is what we call it within leadership
Facebook.
coaching. It is the thing we're on. Or I might think I'm ingenious, and why wouldn't I want someone to know I have that capability, especially if I do?
Right.
Again, these are example adjectives. So when you pick a word and someone else hasn't picked a word, pay attention and ask yourself just this question: why do I choose not to show that to the world? And the follow-up question would be, is that holding me back from the life I want and my greatest potential?
Yeah.
Okay. Now, you have all these leftover words. Ben didn't pick them. My wife didn't pick them. My friends didn't pick them. I didn't pick them. Guess what? That's your potential. You have this huge well of things to see if maybe that is or isn't you. Logical, organized, independent, all the other adjectives. Is that me? Is it not me? I don't know. I haven't even tested it. I have no idea. You know? But the worst thing you can do is assume that you're not. those things and shut yourself down and put a cap on your life, you know, because you think your age has said it's too late. Or I've heard so many people say just shit like, I'm really bad at math, or I have bad comprehension skills, or I could possibly never learn this. It's just not true.
We just start defining these limitations, and it's almost like so much of our culture, I think, starts to point us toward the limitations of the defining factors in our life. Like we start to define ourselves by exactly that. Like, I'm not good at math.
Right.
I can't do this. I can't do this. That's this area.
It's this area, and here's the thing. You may not be good at it, but the truth is you don't know until you try. Earlier on, for those of you who didn't join us earlier on, Ben mentioned I have a YouTube channel. I use the stage of mountain biking because I love mountain biking to share greater truths about life.
Yeah.
One of the guys I follow is one of the top mountain biking channels. It's BKXC, really cool guy. And he tells a story of how the first time he mountain biked, he hated it. Potential. Second time, he hated it. And you kind of ask yourself, well, at what time are you like, I've examined all my potential? I'd say don't just give up on it because you tried it once. We can all have a bad day or a bad experience. But I think around the third time he went out mountain biking with his uncle, he realized he loved it.
Yeah.
And what it's become is his entire livelihood. He has one of the top mountain biking channels where he gets to ride every day around the globe and share people the joy of mountain biking. And it started as something that was a potential and that he thought he didn't like or wasn't even good at. And now it's become something he is passionate about.
Dude, and I love that even talking about your story. Talk about you for a second. I think that it'd be really easy for that to, see the mountain biking thing in particular, for that to have slipped into this place that is the not known to you and not known to others.
Right.
And that you had the curiosity to go discover that. And so curiosity to me becomes this like giant factor.
Right.
If you're not curious, you don't have any way to tap you into that lower right-hand corner.
Exactly right.
Your curiosity is what leads you to that stuff. If you're aloof from your curiosity and you're not connected to that, you'll always stay in the stuff that's known and feels comfortable.
Yeah.
And so Adam, when did you? Okay, so you've biked a little bit during your life, but when did you really start like doing it?
So it's a great question. So hey, don't tune out here because I believe this pertains to anybody, whether you bike or not.
Yeah.
I loved what I saw when people did motocross, like the dirt motorcycles, right? And they're jumping everywhere and had this huge suspension. It looked so fun. And then I realized that a stripped down version of that was mountain biking, and I was like, that looks like fun. I've been on a road bike. Yeah. I don't really pop wheelies or anything, but I can like pop up a curb and do a little bunny hop. So I bought a mountain bike. They called it a hardtail. It doesn't squish in the back. It's just like only suspension on the fork in the front. And I realized how hard it was.
Yeah.
It was so hard. Yeah. I had to climb hills and like bumps were rowdy.
It's crazy dumb hard. I mean,
it was so
the first
hard.
time I tried the trails by our house, I've got a bike that's kind of like, it's not your bike. It's a hardtail. It's like whatever.
Yeah.
And I got on it and I'm like, oh, I'm going to do this. And I saw these guys taking their pace. I remember watching it and they were going real slow. And I'm like, oh, I'm going to kick their asses. And I'm like, oh, look at me. Yeah. And I felt really great about myself until about like the third, little hump. And then all of a sudden, I'm on the side of the road. Yeah. And I'm on the side of the trail and I'm like, I feel like I'm about to puke.
Yes.
That's the kind of stuff that it feels like at the beginning.
Totally.
So you, though, as a dude who's in your mid-40s going like, this is new, this is uncharted territory, you were following your curiosity. This is why I bring this up to go, there are things that feel like they might be out of your reach. There are things that you have curiosity about. There are things that you think, oh, if I had only done that when I was 25, but I'm 45 now. Yeah. Guess what?
Right. Potential says it's not over.
Yeah.
Potential says yet. Robert Kiyosaki, if you guys ever read Rich Dad, Poor Dad, there's a really powerful statement in there. And he talks about the two dad influences he had, his biological father and the father of a friend. And he talks about this idea of his dad and where their finances were. And his dad saying, we can't afford that. Or I can't afford it, which is a statement. Mm-hmm. Don't put a statement on your potential. It's a statement. It ends. I can't afford it. Done. Yeah. I could have said I can't ride a mountain bike. Done. But the rich dad says, how can I afford it? And it leaves it open-ended, and it leaves it open to curiosity and potential and work and examination. And so I said, how can I experience the trails the way I see them on YouTube?
I love that.
Right? How
That's
can
so
I
fun.
become the rider I want to be? How can I become part of the community I want to be? It's going to take work, but if I would have said I can't, that absolutely would have been the story.
Shut it down.
Don't let a statement be your potential.
Yeah.
Right? Let curiosity be your potential.
I love it.
For sure. Okay, so that's the Johari window. That's how it's used. If you look at this, we want you to live authentically in the arena. When we talk about show us your goods, right? We're talking about show us the best parts of yourself, the parts you know that we don't, and be open to us saying, hey, you have wares in the back that you're not even aware of, and we want the best of that. And so what it looks like with the examples of the adjectives we give, if I start living based on the blind spots that people point out to me and the secrets I choose to share, I'm dependable, happy, giving, powerful, confident, brave, shy, ingenious, logical. My arena becomes so much bigger.
Look how big that is up there.
Where are you pointing to?
Look,
That.
Look how big.
How do you do this?
The arena is up there.
There we go.
You made the arena big.
I did. The blind spots become smaller. Your secrets become smaller. God, wouldn't it feel nice just to breathe and know that there aren't things that people are going to find out about you that you're scared of?
Yeah.
Your secrets become smaller, and your potential, you start to take a bigger chunk out of your potential, and you start diving into that well to examine it constantly as a regular habit in your life, regardless of age, regardless whether you're 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70. Colonel Sanders started KFC, I think, at 65 years old.
I love
Think
that
about
story.
that. I'm not even there yet. Not even there yet. So, known to you, known to others, show us your goods. This is the idea of living as authentically as you can. So my question for you, our question for you would be this. Now that you know this about the Johari window, how many of you who have joined us tonight are becoming more aware that you have blind spots that you were too scared to ask people about or to seek out, and you just didn't have the courage to reveal some of your secrets, some of the real you to people so that you can live more authentically. Some of you have some big decisions to make because, I said that kind of weird decision. Some of you have big decisions to make. Whiskey. Big decisions to make in this. You have knowledge now, and you have a tool now, which means that comes with decisions that you have to make. And that means some life shifts, some new life choices, some new people to lean on, some vulnerability that you're going to have to exercise. And you have to ask yourself, how bad do you want the most authentic life possible in the life that you've been
This is
lacking?
it, dude. This is the pathway, the trajectory. Anybody who's on a pathway of more growth, more discovery, more self-awareness, you at some point are going to come face to face with a point where you have to make a decision. It's stuff that we've all faced. It's stuff that Adam's faced in his life. It's stuff that I faced in my life. And you can stay safe. You know the decisions that you can make that'll keep you in a place where it'll feel good, it'll feel comfortable, it'll feel safe, it'll feel like what's known. And you also know the decisions that will take you on the trajectory of curiosity, of pulling that stuff from the unknown into the arena. It's uncomfortable. The reality, like, if we can talk about it here and it feels safe and like we're like high five, yay!
Yeah.
But really, it's not fun. Like there's a huge element of discomfort involved with all of this.
But you're going to gain freedom from it. Trust me, you'll gain a tremendous sense of freedom. As scary as it is at first, and as nerve-wracking, and you might lose friends when you reveal secrets, and you might lose friends, quote-unquote friends, when they reveal blind spots to you. At some point, you're living so authentically that the people who choose to be around you are the real people who should be around you. You don't need all the adjectives that we displayed, by the way, on that. Some people might argue that you do because, let's stick to the formula. I don't believe that. I think it's as easy.
Oh, wait, hold on. Where'd it go?
There you go.
Yeah.
I think, and they're good. They're a good starting point. I think it's as easy as ask your partner, ask your close friends, ask relatives, people that you have a sense of trust with. Are there things about myself that I don't know that you've been too scared to tell me?
That's it.
I want you to tell me. Hold a posture of receiving, not a posture of defense.
Man, that whole posture of being able to receive from other people seems so key to this whole thing. And wherever you are on your journey of life, wherever you are on your creative journey of life, which I think we're all on, so much of it has to do with our posture of openness to receive things about ourselves that we are uncomfortable with, other people see, and we're welcoming and integrating and finding
Absolutely.
ways to take that and go like, how can I create something good out of this? How can I take this with me into the next phase of my life?
I love that.
You shared some great shit with us tonight, dude. I'm so thankful.
Thanks.
This has been
Thank
a lot of fun. I want to ask anybody who's in the room right now, are there thoughts, questions, responses? Are there pieces on this that you're curious about? Like either about, in particular, Adam's story maybe, or my story, and how we've been able to integrate this kind of thinking and approach to our lives and creativity.
Totally. We would love to help you move forward in that. So take the opportunity now. And again, we want your voice at the table. We need this conversation. When it comes to this idea of secrets or living authentically, what better place to start than now? Where you can just type in a chat window and say, hey, I actually struggle with this. Or, hey, how can I move forward in this further?
I'm stuck here.
Absolutely. The secret window is actually really a scary one too, because the secret one means you have to muster up enough courage and bravery to start to trickle out this idea of this is who I authentically am. I don't know what that looks like for everybody. Maybe it's on social media you're doing a post. Maybe it's just to somebody close going, hey, you know what? I like this artist, or I feel this way politically. It's very scary right now in 2020. I feel this way spiritually. I feel this way about my values. Originally when we started this, and again, you guys can start asking your questions right now. Thanks, Candy. We love this too. We geek out over this. When we started this originally, we said, who are you? We asked you guys a question, who are you? And I theorized that the reason why most people didn't answer, I was grateful that my wife chimed in on that, most people didn't answer was either out of fear or because you couldn't answer it. If you're in the latter and you couldn't answer it, my hope is the Johari window helps you begin to answer it. I'm going to give you clues because nobody can answer the question, who are you, for you. Mm-hmm. The clues are this. It's everything about yourself that you're the only one who can change. No other part of your life can change it. Here's who you're not. You're not your role at work. Sorry to tell you that, but you're not. It's a part of you, but it's not you. Because if you were to get fired tomorrow and I were to say, who are you? You can't answer your role at work anymore. And it's also not your position relationally. Because that can change as well. Your relationship can end, your kids can disown you, friends come and go. So that becomes a really difficult thing to answer like, this is my identity. It's the things that you choose to change. It's the things that you love, that you're passionate about, that you fight for, that you find unjust, that you would die on the sword for, that you would speak up about, that you spend your money on. Today, I shared with you guys I love collecting toys. Tomorrow, I'm the only one who chooses if I hate collecting toys. Mm-hmm. That's a part of who I am.
Yeah, it's the part of you that defines yourself. Exactly. Nobody can say that but you.
Right.
And it's easy. Sometimes I think it's easier for us to let other people do that for us. I think, like for me, I think I have some learned habits that have enabled me to go like look to other people first to help define. It's the kind of it's also the reason that we look at like comparison takes such a deep root in us, because we look at things like the internet, we look at social media, and we go like we start comparing ourselves to other people. Yeah. Reality was you're the only one that has the capability to define yourself.
Right. Absolutely. And when you start defining yourself, when you stop living for praise, likes, followers, when you stop living for that, and it's hard, man. It's hard.
It's stupid.
Yeah. You also start having the ability to not have the criticisms hold as much weight. Yeah. With you. You can show up authentically as you are, and start to actually have the ability to nuance and vet and curate real blind spots from opinionated blind spots.
It's a pathway of like release. It's a pathway of letting go.
Absolutely.
It's a posture of being able to like open-handedly say to the universe, like, I'm open. I'm waiting for some. I'm waiting for signs. When you have your hands open, you can receive something. Yeah. And when you're clinging on, when you're holding on to what other people think and these like external definitions of us, then it's really hard. It's really hard to do that.
Hey, I want to say thank you to everyone who tuned in here. If this was a help, just let us know. Chime in, loved it, helpful, anything. That just helps affirm us, which is really great, and lets us know we're on the right track for the type of content you guys want to hear, but not just us, for Ben. So Ben started this with Creative Rhythms last month. Thank you for having me on this thing. I'm calling these things guided workshops.
You just started
really
saying
cool.
it.
I just think it's cool.
Adam just says names. So like for a lot of you guys who don't know, I'll be like open and vulnerable just for a minute because we do that.
Okay. Hey, secret pain.
Ben's
revealing
like
secrets.
he and I are both on this journey of like not knowing where life is taking us. I have, and I've shared this before, and I've shared this during my guided concerts, especially for the past year. Just been living in a space of going like, what's the next thing, and learning not to tune into what a job tells me or a paycheck even tells me, but to go. Like, what's the thing that I have to bring that nobody else has? And I've been saying that with my mouth for a while, but I had to put it into action about a year ago. And so, thank you so much, Charlene, for that. I've had to learn how to tap into that and create that for myself. So that's why I'm like, how can there be more conversation around this idea that you also have something amazing to bring that is needed and valuable? Adam is in a similar spot. Adam's going like, I don't know, I want to speak for you, but I've watched you take some incredible steps forward creatively.
Thank you.
I've watched you as just a friend and as a fellow creative expand yourself and your like awareness and going opportunity and be vulnerable to people. I feel like our families have all gotten a lot closer during this whole like transition the past year or so, and there's an openness for you to just go explore and be curious and try new things, and that's
totally thank
scary
you
and fun.
Absolutely, Ben's right. We're on this journey. Like we're living out what we're trying to present to you tonight. I want to encourage you of this: don't let your blind spots be your biggest window.
Yeah.
Don't let your secrets be your biggest window. Don't let your potential be your biggest window. The potential is your biggest window when you're the new person on the job and you don't know anybody and they don't know you and everything is a potential. It can't stay that way forever. Let your arena be the biggest window. That's where you find your most happiness and you're going to live most authentically. And the statistics on this are, I think in 2016 they did a study. 69% of us are unhappy. 2/3 of us are unhappy. If there was, if there's one other person here with Ben and I, it would mean 2 out of the 3 of us are unhappy. And it's because we're not living authentically, we're not living in the arena. When you wake up tomorrow, because we're about to wind this down, remember just those 4 pains and just ask yourself, is it possible my better life is simply a blind spot away, revealing a secret away, or diving into my potential away to grow that arena so I can live authentically and show my goods to the world? As you say, be reminded why you're on this planet.
That's so good, dude.
You're so good, dude.
Oh. I hope that does something for you. Our hope is that just a seed planted. Charlene just said in the comments, this is deep stuff I need to ponder. I appreciate that. I appreciate that posture because it says, I'm open to pondering. So be open to ponder. Be open to letting the seed be planted.
That's a great question.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
How do you know when you're living authentically and when to should we address that?
Yeah, we absolutely
can't not.
Charlene asked like the biggest bomb question, which I love. Thank you, Charlene, for this. How do you know when you're living authentically? How and when did the light bulb go off for you? So there's 2 parts to that. I'll say it's an ongoing process because fear wants us to keep secrets, defensiveness wants us to keep blind spots, and a lack of courage keeps us from tapping into the potential. Authentically is when we wake up and we go, of course people know this about me. I'm not hiding it. And I've grown because somebody I trusted shared something with me that was keeping me back. Jenny Zilke, what's up? Is keeping me back. So, Charlene, the answer to that question is you feel this shift internally. And we all know what that is. I wish there was this word for it, but maybe authenticity is the word. You feel it go from a disconnect into a longing to things feel more aligned. And that really is what's on your shoulders to bring to that. So I hope that gives you some clarity on how you know you're living more authentically. The light bulb went off for me just being able to say something like, hey, I think mountain biking is teaching me lessons about life, so I started a YouTube channel because that's who I am. Because in my personal life, I started telling people about my mountain biking adventures, whether they bike or not, because I want to share the bigger lesson with them.
And to chime in on that, like the idea of the light bulb, to me, it's just it's on and off, right? So I'm looking for where are the sparks? For me, the sparks, and I shared this earlier, and I was using Adam as an example. It's when you're sort of like curiosity and you're like, oh God, I love this shit kind of thing. Like he is with mountain biking and collecting toys and stuff, where that meets up with somebody else's need and meets up with the reality that's right in front of you. So to me, I go, it's more of like looking at the season of my life and going, am I following my curiosity? Do I love the moments that I'm creating? Do I genuinely find myself in a space where I go, oh my God, I can't believe I get to do this. And if I can say honestly that I'm finding more of those, then I'm on a trajectory of more awareness. I'm living more in the arena. I'm bringing more of myself to the world, because that's where we're supposed to live.
Right. So, Charlene, use those 3 questions I posed at the beginning. Who are you? Where are you going? And why are you going there? So if you go, here's who I am. I'm a doctor. Well, where are you going? Well, I'm going to help people. Why are you going there? Because my parents were doctors. Yeah. That may be true, but it might not. You might be living somebody else's life. I like to say, don't let the vision for your life be through somebody else's lens.
Love that.
That's really the test of it, right?
Yeah.
Like somebody else has a vision for your life. It's usually your parents, or it might be somebody you respect, and you go, I respect them. I love them. I don't want to disappoint them. I'll live that path out. Yeah. You may want to live that path of a doctor out in the example, but you may not. You may want to own a comic book shop, and that's okay too. Yeah. That's living authentically. Being able to go back and go, I know who I am, therefore I know where I'm going and why I'm going there. And before we end here, because our battery's going to die and we have to wrap this up, the whole question of why you're going there, you guys have all heard this idea of what's the purpose in your life. Your purpose is your why. And if you want to know why you're going there, you need to reverse engineer this into where you're going and who you are. Who are you? Where are you going? Why are you going there? That's your purpose. And keep cycling.
The big questions, it's the same thing.
Yeah.
I love this.
If you have questions long after this, hit Ben up, because he's on this thing.
Hit this guy up. Listen, Adam can be found. I'm going to just pimp your channel for a second.
Oh, jeez.
Go to YouTube. Get off of Facebook right now and go search on YouTube, Adam Mock. He's teaching incredible life lessons through mountain biking. So if you're not a mountain biker, you're still going to love his channel. It's so good. It's
very
great
sweet
stuff.
There's a fun black and white logo of an A&M. Looks like a crown. That's how you know you found
Go check it out. Anyway, thank you, Adam, for hanging out.
Thanks, bro. Yeah.
This is so much fun.
Hey, keep following Ben on stuff. If you want to see more leadership nuggets, Instagram for me is Adam Mock, at adammock.lcs, leadership coaching specialist, adammock.lcs.
There you go.
Keep up with Ben. Guided concerts, music and experiences. It's not just music and experiences that remind you why you're on this planet. He's doing some incredibly thought-provoking things and changing lives. So go after it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hey, I like to end out like this. Peace and love.
Peace, love, and
I mean that.
Go get another shot. All right.
Thank you, everyone who tuned in.
Have a good
night.
night.
See you next time.